Hello, it's Laura Donnelly, and I want to welcome you to The Healing Path. I'm the founder of Dancing with Ease Body Brain Balance, and this is a series of conversations that I have started with friends and colleagues who are working in various parts of the healing field. And for me, healing has a really large definition, and it's a journey. It's a path you go on, and it's not always predictable. But my guests who come on, we have a theme kind of idea in common, which is that all healing starts with self healing, and then it expands and ripples out into the world from there. Today, my guest is Millen Livis, and she's going to share with us how to be in control of your money and how that can be really healing for you. Hi, Millen.
Hi, Laura. Great to be your guest. Great to be on your wonderful new show. And hello, everybody who is watching us live or in recording. Very honored to be here with you and support your effort, which I think is awesome.
Well, thank you so much, and I'm so glad you could share, because I know that it's been me and money has been a long journey in my life, and how it works in my life. But gradually over the last couple of years, I have seen how I can really block money coming to me by the things I'm thinking. And those things cause me to do things that maybe aren't as efficient or intelligent as I could do. And that ends up, I miss opportunities or I make mistakes. Like I didn't get something paid on time. I have a late fee. That cost me money. So why don't you tell people a little bit about your history, your story, how you got, I love the background, like, Wharton Business School, neuro-linguistic programming. Woo, woo, woo. And that's what attracted me to you, the fact that you have multidimensionality in your approach.
Yes, so really brief, because I want to get to the meat of our discussion. So I originally came from Lithuania, was one of those aspired but very poor immigrants. And even though I had a degree in physics, master degree in physics, and was fairly good, well educated, I didn't speak any English. So I started as a florist assistant, and was supporting my family and was saving money for the car to be able to go to the interview. So within 1 year, I self-taught English, and my first job was a consultant for Merrill Lynch brokerage company. And that was my dream, by the way. I was very clear that I want to learn how to invest in the stock market. I want to work for a brokerage company, and I got it. So over the years, I was climbing the ladder like many corporate employees, and became an executive. And then at some point, I just started to feel that I'm losing the meaning of this work. And even though financially it was very comfortable, I had 6-figure salary, I had prestigious office, downtown location. I always work in World Trade Center. It was not enough. And so I decided to study business. I always wanted to have a very good education in business, and obviously Wharton Business School is one of the best institutions out there. So I went to Wharton, graduated with an MBA degree, and then I didn't feel like I want to go back. And at the same time, I was going through divorce, and I was going through financial challenges because Wharton is very expensive, and I was not working, and so it was a mix of very powerful circumstances that basically made me realize that I have to dare to change my life, because I was desperate, I was broke, I was depressed, and there was moment in my life around actually Valentine's Day when I felt like this is it. I don't think it makes sense for me to continue. I was that low. I was really in a dark place. And by the grace of God, I was introduced to someone who was a life coach. And he helped me to change my perspective on my life, on success, on possibilities. And I realized that being focusing only on your technical skills, how to manage money, how to invest money, how to be a good employee, how to whatever, on all the how to was just not enough. It's important. But there is another dimension in life, and this dimension involves your inner well-being, your inner power that you must be aware of. And when he helped me to really reconnect to this source that we all have inside, it was like I started seeing things more clear. And of course, I always go all the way. So I said, I want to be a yoga teacher. I want to be a meditation instructor. And I became, and I started learning different healing modalities and became an LP master practitioner and a timeline practitioner. So I really started learning all the modalities to manage energy and expand your awareness about frequencies that you create when you focus on something that is negative, something that is very disruptive for you, versus when you notice the abundance that you already have, connect to the beauty that is available to all of us, inner beauty, outer beauty, and things just started shifting in my life. You know, it was not overnight. It was not instant miracle. But in a way, looking back, it was like a miracle, because for me to come back from this dark place, to come back and to feel whole, to feel grounded and centered and focused, it was amazing. So I did mention that I was also trying to build an investment business. So, and I went through a challenging time because it was all during the market crash in 2008, 2009. So everything started to turn around. It's like a big ship that was heading toward crash, and suddenly realized that it's the wrong direction and started changing the direction. So that's how I came to being a financial independence mentor, because for women, for professional women, because for me, when I was in this place where I didn't have a steady job, I didn't have steady income, didn't have health insurance, so my prospects for future was so dire that I felt that the only thing I want in life was freedom. I wanted financial freedom. I didn't care what clothes I wear. I didn't care what car I have. I wanted to have the freedom and stand on my ground with confidence, with pride, and know that I don't depend on anyone, any man, any boss, anyone else. So I started pursuing this goal, and it was a process. It took me 7 years to become financially independent, and during this time, I was noticing what worked, and I started documenting this. And in a way, it was like a journal of what works, the steps that I took, and that's how I created what now is called the MILLENaire Method for becoming financially independent. So that's what I teach to women who want to enjoy freedom in their lives, enjoy having more time, having freedom of location, freedom of choices, freedom of money. And it doesn't mean that you have to have millions and millions of dollars. Like many women think that, you know, it's not possible for me to be financially independent because I'm not a millionaire and I'm not a billionaire. And I keep saying that I know it's possible because your financial independence is not the same as someone else's financial independence. If that's what you want, if that's what is most important to you, then you can calculate exactly how much you need to make a month to be financially independent, passive income. And as you know, that's what I teach in Become Financially Savvy training that we worked on together. Because once you have your financial freedom number, it's not the bird in the sky anymore, right? You know that, you know, once I have this, I will be free. And then this financial freedom number will tell you what is the gap between where you are right now and where you want to be financially free. And then you start feeling it's like a puzzle, okay? So I need this amount of money from this source. I want this amount of money from this source. And you can still have part-time job or part-time business or whatever, or you can design how to do it passively. So the point that I want to bring to your followers and our viewers is that it is possible to be financially independent. It just you have to be committed, and you have to know that this is unique for you because you are unique, and your desires are unique, and it's important to be motivated, like the big why. We all need to have this big why. If we don't connect to this big why, like for me, big why was freedom. I was willing to work and do whatever I have to do to achieve this freedom. So the big why is very important. And yeah, so that was a long story introducing myself.
Yeah, but one of the things I really enjoyed was the power of choice and the fact that once you decide, okay, I want to be able to do these things, then you back out from those things, how much those things cost, then that starts to set you on the path how much money you need. You know, instead of, I mean, like a lot of times I would just go, well, I need to make as much money as I can. Well, that's really vague, you know. And then once I had a plan and an idea, then I had choices to make. But the reason for making the choices, you know, and then COVID came, and so that changed a lot of things too. But I used to like to go and have coffee every day, and I would take my computer and I would do some work and all. But it was not cheap. It was a little pricey, kind of an event. And really, I can make really good coffee at home, really good coffee. But it was a treat, or it was something special, and the idea of not being able to do it made me feel deprived until when, like talking with you, I had the idea, oh, this is a choice. I can spend the money here, or I can put it towards this. And then just very gradually, I started making choices like that all through my life, one step at a time. And it wasn't about not doing something, it was about doing something else. And that really was a mind shift for me. You know,
Laura, you brought up something very, very important, because a lot of women, they focus on what they have to say no to. If they want to save money, if they want to invest money, they focus on, now I cannot do this and I cannot do this. But instead, if they focus on what they say yes to instead, right? So that's a very different mind shift, very important mind shift. And it's very powerful, like you shared with your coffee example. You know, it's important to have joys in life, and you know, it's great, but you can also ask yourself, okay, I may not have this, but what can I do? What will make me feel good if I put this money somewhere else? And that's a good way to talk yourself into something more maybe productive in terms of finances.
Yeah. Now, you had said that you have like three steps, three things that you encourage people to do, three
Yeah.
simple steps to, I guess, to start yourself on the path to an independent and financially free or financially supported. Actually, you know, that's interesting too, because for me, freedom is this idea of financially supported. That idea makes me feel safe and secure. And so you said you had like three simple steps that.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it simple, and because if it's simple, it's doable, right? And we don't need to have to overcomplicate things. So first important step is to know what you want. Like this, what is so important, because most people, you would be surprised, but most people know what they don't want. I don't want to be with this man. I don't want to have this job. I don't want this. I don't want this. But they spend most of their focus, which means they direct their energy and it expands on what they don't want. So I think it's super important to know what is it you want? What is it that you want? What kind of life you want to experience? Very important to know your what. And also, it's the same step. It's also very important to know your why, because your why must be so big for you, and it would be your unique why, right? Because my why might be different than someone else. The why should be so big that you will commit to this. Because when we want something, I know, like, I observe women, and for example, even my daughter, when she wants something, when she has a big why, she would be doing whatever it takes. So knowing this big why makes you committed to your goals. It makes it easier to make healthy choices, financial choices. So very important to know what is it that you want. Not only, when we know what we don't want, it helps us to see what is it that we want. So it helps to know the contrast, right? When we experience contrast, it's easier to know what we want. So use your I don't want that in order to determine your what is it that I want. And really figure out what is your big why, so you will commit to this goal that you have for yourself. So that's, I would say, very important step one. Okay, step two, I think, is from all the women that I speak to, and I speak to a lot of women, is important to know your numbers, because so many women are afraid of numbers, and they're afraid to look at the statements, and they're afraid to calculate their net income or their net worth. They're afraid to deal with the numbers. And partially it's also why some women don't want to invest, because they don't want to deal with numbers. So I think knowing your numbers, it's a responsible thing to do. Whether you in a relationship or married, it doesn't matter. Whether your spouse managing your finances or not, you've got to know what is coming in, the incoming cash flow, the sources of this cash flow. Again, whether you're in a relationship or on your own, and what is coming out, what expenses you have. You've got to calculate your net cash flow. And if your net cash flow is just breaking even or negative, then you know that you have to look at your money leaks, right? And you have to check what is happening with your finances. You cannot just close your eyes and say, it's all going to be okay. Well, you can do that, but then open your eyes and look at the numbers, right? So that's a very important aspect, because a lot of women, especially women who are coaches and who love to learn about spirituality, they meditate, they chant, and they think that positive attitude, positive focus will make all the things right. And I'm saying that it's super important But like our life, we live in a dual universe, right? In a physical and in spiritual. So, like in real life, we have to take care of the physical aspect of our Earth experience, and money is this thing that we need to learn how to control, how to manage, how to be intentional with money, how to plan this. So we will enjoy experiences that we want to have. Because if you lose control of your money, then it's much harder to have the kind of lifestyle and experiences that you have. So I wish it was taught at schools and universities, but unfortunately, parents, right? But it's very rare that people learn this from traditional education, and that's why I'm enjoying my work, because I feel that this is like a gap that people really can use to improve their lives. So anyway, so that was step 2, know your numbers. And again, I'm trying to simplify this to 3 steps. Obviously, it's maybe not maybe too simplistic, but I'm trying to make it easy to implement. So the step 3 is to find the system, find the formula that you could follow and achieve what you want to achieve. So that's what I like to offer, because when I was working on my financial independence goal, I didn't have this. I must admit that I was spending money left and right, money that were very scarce at this time for me. But I was so determined. I was like, I have to learn how to do this. I have to learn how to do that, because I knew that I wanted to learn about investing in real estate. I wanted to learn about investing in the stock market strategically, because initially I was just buying stocks, hot stock here when my colleague would say buy this stock, or hot stock here. And I was not moving forward with my financial net worth. So I learned that it's important to be strategic. Like, you have to have a vision, and it's like a puzzle, and then you feel all these pieces of this puzzle to complete this. So that's why having like a formula or a system to follow is very important. And in the MILLENaire Method, I have like I call it 4 pillars of this process to becoming financially independent. I think the first one is very important for everyone, and it's developing wealth mindset. And I'm sure that you will agree with this, because it's like a foundation for everything. Because if you have this scarcity and lack mindset, then you always focus on what is missing and what is impossible and what you don't have enough. What happens? It's going to grow.
It's going to grow.
Yeah.
Your energy on grows. So I also thought about this when you were talking, is when you're a little bitty kid, the first thing you learn, one of the first words, is no. And I was thinking about this, I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't want this other thing. And I'm thinking, that's like, the mindset is like a child mind. It doesn't have an abundant yes button, sort of, and what you said too about the abundant mindset, what am I grateful for today? Having a gratitude practice shifts the day just gently. And say I'm in a job right now that I need to do, that I need to finish because it will bring me something, but I don't like the people. Well, can I be grateful for what the job gives me and ask, how quickly can I finish this and be done? And instead of resenting the people and resenting the job, I can be grateful for what it brings and be making my steps, my plan, my move into something else. Because that's the other thing. This is a process. This is not like an about face. It's a choice, a decision, very deliberate decisions made both with your heart and your mind at the same time.
And I also like, because I talk to some women who currently have jobs that they don't like, and I always ask them, tell me what this job allows you to accomplish in your life, right? So it's a different perspective on your job. If, for example, if at this moment you need this job, but maybe you don't enjoy it, instead of suffering through, you can find aspects of this situation that actually you can be grateful for, right? So, and you can think like, this is a stepping stone for me to achieve XYZ. This is a opportunity for me to make money so I can support my family. So focusing on what this allows you to do instead of what it doesn't allow you to do, how it limits you. You know, it's a very important shift in perspective, and that's what I call, that's one aspect of wealth mindset. When you see abundance and when you see opportunities around you, instead of seeing only limitations and lack and scarcity and blame parents, blame whatever for what for your misfortunes. It's very important also to be able to say, yeah, I made a mistake. I made this choice. It was a mistake. But you know what? I learned from this. So taking responsibility is also very important aspect of wealth mindset. But, you know, it's a long story. I can talk about wealth mindset for a long time. But this is, I think, foundation for everything, every success in life, including financial success. So the second pillar that I wanted to share today is, I think for women, especially for women, it's very important to be financially savvy. Very important, because culturally and historically, women just basically have to be supported by someone. We not that we're not good enough, but we just raised that way, that we almost inhale this statement that, you know, someone will take care of us. I have to marry or whatever. And less now, but still, it's very important to know that you are capable and you definitely can support yourself. You don't have to be in an unbearable, unpleasant, or dangerous situation just because you need this person to support you, just because you have to have this job because nobody else will hire you. So having this attitude that I am capable and I can do whatever I want to do, it's very, very important. And that includes managing finances. So I hear so often from women, I'm embarrassed because I'm afraid of numbers. And, you know, some women are breadwinners in the family. They make most money, but they delegate managing finances to their husband, and they don't know what is going on. So that's a very important aspect, to be financially savvy and know how to manage your money intentionally so you can stand on your feet. So that's my second pillar. Do you have any comments, or you want me to continue?
Keep going.
Okay. So the third pillar that I wanted to share is I believe that women need to learn how to invest strategically. You know, buying cryptocurrency here, some coins there, some stocks here. It's very chaotic. And I don't know. I'm a big believer in strategy, in strategic approach to investing, because I see that that's what successful people do. They invest strategically. There is such thing called asset allocation, when you create your portfolio by diversifying in particular assets. And asset allocation depends on where you are in life, your financial situation, your age, your goals, etc. So that's very important to be aware of, right? So that's why I teach, as part of my training, I teach women how to invest strategically. And, some of these investments could be stock market. Some of these investments are, you can invest in your business. You can buy a business. You can invest in real estate. So there are different aspects of investing. But what is important, what I teach in my coaching, that you have to have strategic approach. You have to know why you're doing what you're doing, right? So it should be much more than a hot tip from a friend or a colleague. So that's my third pillar. And the fourth pillar, I initially I had only 3 until I realized that if I didn't reconnect to my inner self, if I didn't reconnect to the power inside, to the source that we all have access to, I would not be in a place where I am right now. Because sometimes we feel like, it's impossible. It's I'm lost. I don't think it would happen ever. Like I would never be able to do something. And when you know that you're never alone, that there is this high intelligence, higher power, like whatever you call it, God, source, that is always present. And there are ways to leverage this ability to create, because we are spiritual beings, and we emit frequencies, etc., etc. So having this awareness and having ability to leverage this is a huge aspect of achieving your goals. Specifically, for example, in what I teach is becoming financially independent. And that's why I teach in this dimension. I teach about frequencies. I teach about creating on demand certain experiences, because I think that this awareness is very, very important, and was not widely known before, but more and more now. Like I think people are much more open to learning about this, to using this. And so that's the fourth pillar, the accelerator. I think that this is a powerful accelerator when you know about your inner power and able to connect and create from this place, not from three-dimensional world, but from five-dimensional world. And that's what I think I would love to more and more women to be aware of. Okay, I'm done. I'm so excited. I'm this is so exciting for me to share this. And my apologies if I just go into some monologue a little bit.
No, it's fine. The thing that's interesting that I have been working with recently is I can take an idea, right? And I can make a whole dance. I can make a dance for 30 people. So this is the idea comes into physical form. And at one point I thought, why don't I think I can do this with financial material also? The creative process is the creative process. And I was like, wow. I mean, making a painting, making a dance. I mean, a lot of this is very, very hard. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of energy, convincing other people to work with you. And so then I'm like, oh, this is bringing something into the world to share with people. And if our work that we do helps other people, even if it just helps our family, it's valuable. And once we realize that, everything kind of shifts. And the thing about investment, I was thinking, investment in yourself. You did talk about education and learning. And I think people sometimes have a very narrow box that they consider investment. Whereas investment in your own well-being, so that you are available to take advantage of the opportunities that come to you, is a valuable investment. And it's not just like investing in the stock market. And then I'm thinking, oh, well, I could find somebody's, I hadn't thought about this before either. I could find somebody's business that I like their business, and I could see about investing in their business, a small percentage, whatever. And then I'm helping somebody grow their dream, and I'm growing my financial portfolio at the same time. It's personal, it's really close and small, but that's still investing.
Totally. I just, like when you were talking, something came to mind, because you're absolutely right about investing in yourself. And, we talk about how important asset preservation and how you need to, take care of your assets and not to lose them. But guess what is the biggest asset we all have? It's ourselves, right? I am my biggest asset. No matter what else I have, if I'm not well, if I'm depressed, if I'm unhappy, if I'm unhealthy, then nothing else matters. That's why we have to remember that with all the assets that we have to create and grow and manage, the biggest and most important assets is we ourselves, right? And we need to remember that and be generous with ourselves, because unless I'm happy and I want to do whatever I want to do, nothing else will matter.
No,
and it's a ripple effect, because it's like your children, your spouse, everybody around you, your clients.
Yes, it ripples out. It ripples out from you. And the same is true, like if you're unhappy in your job and you hate your job and you want another job, that energy isn't attractive to opportunity or new employers. And and even if the job doesn't fit anymore, and they always ask you at any interview, why did you want to leave that job? And if I can say, well, the job was really great at the time I got it, but I want to learn new things now, that I think that the job I'm interviewing for has this opportunity for me to expand. And then you don't say anything bad about the old place. You don't say, I hate that job, I have to get out of there, which never works. We have a couple of people. Kay is watching and Mary is watching. Kay says if she's unhealthy, nothing else matters, which is true. You don't have the energy to do what you need to do. Mary says abundance is her mantra, which is wonderful. And any job that she's had, she considers a stepping stone, a learning path. And she says also, and this is an interesting idea, this idea to visualize and feel like she has achieved a goal. And I think even like with a job, if you look at what you learned from that job and what you can take forward, then that job is actually an investment in your skill set. And those the thing you learned on a job, they can't take that away from you. You might have learned to master spreadsheets, you might have hated it, but you learned it. It's yours. And so
I think perspective is very important, because you can say, I hate this job and I can't wait to get out. Or you can say, what can I, so like I shared the 3 steps at the beginning. You want to know what you want, like what is it that you want, and then think like how this job can help me to get there. What can I learn or leverage from this job, and how can I use this for my next experience? So there is always something that you could leverage from your experiences. The experiences don't happen by chance. There is a reason why you're going through what you're going, because somehow you needed to learn this lesson. And if you don't learn these lessons, that's when patterns happen, right? So patterns happen when you still need to learn this lesson. That's why some women go from bad relationship to bad relationship, because the lesson was not learned. That's why some people go from being broke, in this situation to being broke in another situation, because they need to learn something around money. So noticing your patterns and knowing that this is the lesson that I need to learn will be very useful for you, whether it's seeing abundance around you, whether it's expressing appreciation for having a job that maybe helps you support your family and whatever. So perspective is everything, and everything can be looked at from a positive and uplifting point of view.
That's a skill.
It's a skill.
It's a real skill, but it's a skill worth developing.
Definitely.
And it's a path. Now, you do have a free gift, which I will put in the comments for people. And I want to remind people that they can connect with you in the description. There's many ways to connect with your group, with your website, and you will be in the healing path if they have specific questions that they want to ask in a more private, quiet, not totally public here group. They can do that. And also, I will put your email in the private group, if that's okay, so that
yes,
it's not everywhere. And I thank you so much for taking the time and sharing your joy and your wonderful positive outlook. And what you really have is this belief that everyone can do this, and that's so encouraging to know, like, one step at a time, you can change your life. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Laura. I really enjoy always, always chatting with you. And I'm sorry that we went a little bit longer, much longer than we planned, but hopefully it would be okay.
It's fine. And thanks, everybody, for watching. And I will remind you, these are public videos. And if you want to share it, please do. Our goal is to help people find the things that make their lives better, happier, healthier, and more joyous. So thank you so much, Millen.
Thank you, Laura.
Cindy, good to see you.